Welcome, everybody. We just opened the room for our International Montessori for Dementia Conference. We're just going to give it a few seconds for people to come in, and then we're going to get started in about less than a minute-ish. All right, well, welcome everyone. Good afternoon for the East Coast people in the US. Good evenings for people in France, including some of our speakers today. Thank you for joining so late. And then good morning for people joining us on the west side of the country in the US. My name is Charles de Vermeuren. I am the CEO and co-founder of Linked Senior. We are a resident engagement platform for senior living. Right at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, we started this super fun and exciting platform called Activity Strong with the goal of empowering and just acknowledging the amazing work of activity and life enrichment professionals, but also educating. And so I'm very excited today as we have grown the platform. We have partnered with leading organizations like Activity Connection, NAP, and NCAP. And I just want to share with you that personally, I have been a big fan of the work of the Center for Applied Research in Dementia and Dr. Kemp for years. So it's kind of an honor for me to introduce our conference today. If you have any questions about the agenda itself, please visit activitiesstrong.com. You'll find the whole details, the agenda, and the different sessions we have. Just before I introduce today's speakers for our first session, let me just walk through our housekeeping reminders. So up to 3 NAB, NCAP, NCTRC, and or NCCDP CU credits are available. To earn the credits, you need to attend the full session. So as few as 1 session or as many as 3. There are 3 sessions today. And then to get the credit, you need to fill out the information below in the survey so we can process the certificate of attendance. And again, you'll be issued up to 3 hours of CUs. Please note that due to the very large number of attendees, certificates will be sent out via email through the week of December 12th and no later than Friday the 16th, by the end of the day. Each certificate is emailed individually. And if you have any questions, please reach out to this email. We have webinars@activitiesstrong.com. And then if you have questions about missing certificate, please wait until December 16th to send us your questions. As a reminder, this session is being recorded. Also, at this point in time, I think that all of us are very familiar with Zoom, but just to make sure, we have 2 features to engage with our speakers and the audience and the audience. One is the chat feature, and then the other is the Q&A. So 2 comments about this. The Q&A is obviously better if we have questions for the speakers and the panelists, but if we want to chat with everyone in the chat feature, please make sure to select from the dropdown everyone so that everybody can see your contributions. With that, I'm extremely excited to introduce our first session, Resident-Driven Communities, Montessori Lessons from France, and to that effect, introduce you all to our moderator today, Gary Johnson, Leadership Development Consultant for Monarch Pathway. Gary, I'll let you take it away, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Charles. Thanks to you and your team for organizing this as well. You've done a great job, so I really appreciate that. My name is Gary Johnson. I'll be trying to get out of the way of Vero and Jerome, 2 people who I greatly admire and had the really good fortune, Dr. Kemp and I did, of spending the week with them in Paris last week. Very incredible people. They run a very interesting organization that's really trying to change Europe related to persons with dementia as well as employees. So I will turn it over to, I think Jerome is going to be sharing his screen, and Vero they can talk a little bit about themselves and what they're going to get into. I will be looking at the Q&A and if it's appropriate, maybe I'll pause them every now and then, but otherwise we'll probably pause at the end, the last 10 minutes to kind of wrap up. But I'm super excited about what we're going to hear from Vero and Jerome. So take it away, guys.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Gary. I will start. So first of all, I would like to say how grateful we are to be able to share here our experience. We are a small company in France, and we try to develop Montessori for persons with dementia, staff, and trying to bring a little bit of more life, let's say, in a crazy system. Second, I would like to apologize for my English. I will do my best, but I'm French speaking, and so I will try to be understandable. Maybe in some writing you will see mistakes, but we learn by our mistakes. So let's say I will learn with you guys today. So we're a company working with Dr. Cameron Camp for now 12 years, and we are trying to bring, especially with training, all of these values and principles of Montessori in the system. We started many years ago with what we could call usual training. We were using, PowerPoint slides and giving to the audience all the concept and stories, also examples to make it be like alive. It was something very, like at university lectures or thing like that. And I have to say that we were kind of good in that. I mean, people were happy and things were kind of cool. Then came the pandemic and we were stuck at home, and that was a very good time for us to think about what we were doing. So we were kind of uneased because it was like, do what we say, but not what we do. I mean, we were speaking about, for example, values of equality. We were saying that we have to treat the other person the way we want it to be treated, and as equal person to person interaction. And that's about to staff about persons with dementia, but that was not what we were doing. We were like very vertical, explaining to other people what they had to do. Also, there is another Montessori principle that says, speak less and show more. And actually, that was really not what we were doing. We were speaking a lot and not showing a lot. Also, we are speaking, when we speak about Montessori for dementia, about what we call a prepared environment that is created to allow independence and to allow person with dementia to engage themselves in meaningful activities. And that was not exactly what was happening. So that was a good time for us to think about that and try to change things. So we had a process. We kind of created things and tested them on the field. And actually that was much more powerful than we had thought about it. So what I would like to do first now is to share with you some examples of the way we changed the training. So, for example, what we call in Montessori a prepared environment is an environment that will make the values and principles alive. And you can see here on the screen examples of that. So we stopped to put, people in lines listening to the trainer with the PowerPoint. We get rid of the PowerPoint, no more PowerPoints. We just use a screen to present videos if we need to show examples, and that's all. So we sit in a circle, and maybe Gary will tell you things later in the day about circles. But that brings something very important. Now we don't have a trainer that dominates the meeting. In a circle, everyone is at the same level. Also, it allows people to share experience and think about it. Also, you can see below, I think on the right, we set up a frame and rules for the meeting. That's more like a meeting than a training, actually. And the rules, we decide them with all the trainees, the attendant. And we do not set the rules, we set them with the persons together, and that's very different. So there is choice, freedom, and we immediately create what we could call a sense of community. Other example of a prepared environment. That's exactly how our training room now looks like. So you have tables, many tables with a lot of material, and exactly like in a Montessori school, each material is dedicated to a specific particular activity that brings new learning. So now it's not learning by listening, the same person speaking again, but learning by doing, exploring by yourself, and being guided by the material. For example, we encourage in nursing home to use name tags like this one, so people know the name of each other, residents, staff, families, everyone. So you can see that we use the same name tags on the photo, but when they enter in the room, they may take it, use it by themselves. So they use the hands, which is another Montessori principle, and they can choose the way they want it to be called. First name, last name, nickname, they choose it. It's a very little thing. And that's how they explore by using it, the principles and the material. And so you have different things to explore during the training. So it's a very different environment. And wait for it. And so now the training is happening very differently. So we do not have the trainer alone. You can see me on one. I will take another one. Sorry, I made a mistake. I told you I learned by my mistake, but let's take this one. So in the upper corner on the left, you can see me during the training. And the only thing I do is that I present to the attendees the activity. And then I step back and I do not say anything. I let them learn by themselves. And so you have people, and that is very different and very important. They never stayed on their seats. They move a lot to explore the material, to work together, to learn things. And you can see below that they present themselves the results of their exploration. And so basically, that is not the trainer that gives the information. They learn it by themselves and they learn it together. So it's a very different experience for them. Yeah, let's say that. So there is the quote of Maria Montessori. She was saying the greatest sign of success is when they work as if we were not present. Many times they are working in the training room and I go outside of the room speaking with a resident or whatever, and they go on. Actually, they do not need me a lot during the training, thanks to this prepared environment and the material we created. And so this is a very different experience. And again, some pictures. I told you it's not learning by listening and taking notes. It's learning by doing. Many exercises, moving, using material, trying activities, and so on. But we do this training most of time inside the nursing home. And so we speak a lot about the residents. And that was important for us, not to speak about them, but with them. Because we speak during our training how to create a different environment for persons with dementia, how to involve them into their life. So it was kind of awkward or strange to speak about them without them. So what we do now very often is that we invite them during our training because they are the experts. We don't. And so we try material with them. We create material with them, as you can see. And the last photo, the third one, is interesting because at the end of all of our training now, what we do is that we propose to the participants to create an action plan. And this action plan is what will we do now with all of this stuff that we have learned by doing and so on. And that is very useful. Before, we were not saying anything. Thank you for these 3 days, amazing stuff. Good luck, see you, bye. And then nothing. So now they are creating their own action plan. On the third picture, you can see that the person that was writing the action plan is a person with dementia living in the nursing home, which is a very different experience for the staff to see that. Also, what we do, usually, Dr. Kemp often recommend to ask 3 interesting questions to residents. And that is something that everyone should do when working in a nursing home. First question is, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do for a living? What do you do right now? Very important question. I think Cameron will say some words about that later. Second question, how is it to live here? Very important question also, if you wish to create a prepared environment for a person with dementia. And the third question, what do you want? These 3 questions can bring us very far. And so when we do our training, we ask person with dementia to come with us, and we ask this question to them. And later in our presentation with Vero, you will see some videos of French nursing home that we have been working with for years now, and you will see where doing this can lead us. So we ask the resident to come and help us during the training, which is very different again. Another example, all the material we propose them to use, also we can create it during the training with residents. The woman you can see on the first picture doesn't speak anymore at all, but she has a lot of capacities. And for the staff, seeing this happening with their worst resident is like a miracle. So we do not have to explain anything now because they live it, they experience it, and that is, I think, what is needed actually. So I would like very quickly show you a small video of this resident. She's leading an exercise. So it's about what we call cognitive ramps, memory aids for person who has memory deficits. And so that's kind of a bingo, a trivia, a quiz, where they have to find which external aid fits the best to the situation. And so she is leading the exercise actually.
Je recommence tout. Mathilde, nous avons emprunté vos vêtements avec votre accord pour les emmener à la lingerie. Nous pourrons ainsi les laver et les repasser. Nous en prendrons le plus grand soin. Vos vêtements vous reviendront propres, secs et bien pliés vendredi avant midi.
Very small glimpse of what it looks like, but the most fun part is this. Oh, silent and calm are the staff, which is very different again of what happened. Usually they speak, residents do not speak a lot, and that's what we want. And they told us that time, oh, she's usually not like that. Maybe it's a good day for her. And actually, when we do that, we have a lot of good day. So that was some kind of examples of how we now train all these nursing homes we are working with. So what does it bring? Well, what effect are produced? Probably the first, and I think for me the most important, is this. fun, joy, engagement. It's kind of crazy to see it. This picture has been taken during a training, allowing them to move, to explore by themselves as a team, creating, sharing, and also working to connect to each other. We learn things about us, not about our jobs, but about who we are. All of these things create something they deeply want. And it's very funny to see when we arrive to give the training first day like that. Another training, another blah, blah, blah. They will tell us what to do. It won't be possible here. We hear this all the time. We see this all the time. So they are very some kind of close to us. And then just by being in a circle, sharing about each other, learning to listen each other, bringing joy, fun, movement, free exploration of the material, this bring this. And the engagement, the joy, the fun is really, really different. And I quote someone that you can see on the screen, Gary Johnson. Really, what's more important than that? I mean it, in work, training, life, fun, joy, love, engagement. That's what it's about. It also brings a lot of productivity, and that is the funniest part. When you treat people the way you wish to be treated, when you treat persons like persons, they produce a lot. And I told you about the action plan. And so these photos are pictures of action plan that we created during that. They created during the training course. Much more ideas than before, much more things they bring from their heart, their ideas, and their training. That's very special when you experience this the first time. And it also brings to life new ideas and creativity. And I would like to finish this first part by this example. So we always start our day and finish our day by a question, very important and profound one, that is, how do you feel right now? They can tell they feel bad, angry, tired, joyful, whatever. And so in that place I've trained, they decided that it was very important. They realized during the training how important it was to share this. And so they decided that they had to bring this into their work. So what they created is small name tags, but also with a picture. We call that the, I think, internal weather. That should be the word in English. And so they share how they feel with this picture. Sunny is, I feel joyful, plenty of energy, things like that. The rain is, I feel bad and sad and tired. Okay, the storm, the thunder is, I feel angry. And so they immediately can connect to each other. And the chief nurse, for example, can see what is the weather in my team these days at the moment. And this idea that came directly from being treated that way during the training. And that was, and this is the most important part, their idea, absolutely not mine. And that is what this way of training brings. So Gary, that's it for my first presentation. I don't know if I get now to resident of, if you have some thoughts, questions.
Yeah, no, Jerome, I think that laid a great kind of overall picture for what's possible. And that's a big thing about what is it that we can imagine. Sometimes it's hard to imagine if things were different, what would they look like? I'd say let's just keep rolling. I don't know if you have the next part or Vero.
Jerome will begin and I will follow him.
Okay, so the next part is, where does this leads us? Because the training we gave is about Montessori for persons with dementia. And basically, it's about how to help person with dementia to have a life that is meaningful, joyful, that has purpose, And when you work in a nursing home, sometimes that may seem impossible, especially because some places, they have person with very severe deficits, dementia, and so on. So we work with staff to help them to create an environment that would be the resident's home. What I would like to do and to share with you, because I speak too much, that's the drama of my life, is kind of close my mouth and show you what it looks like. So I will show you a video from a place in the south of France, very close to where I am right now. And they decided as a community and as a team to allow their residents to work as a community and as a team to create the place they would love to live in. So I stop this and wait for it. Where is it? Okay, I guess it's here.
And we'll have subtitles in English, so it will be easiest for you to follow it.
So wait, okay, I've got it here. I'm not sure, Vero, wait 1 second. My screen is,
And did you share the sound in your room too?
I think yes. So you have it, Vero?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do it. I will pause sometimes very briefly to explain what you see.
À la maison de retraite Mathilde Laurent, les habitants participent à l'aménagement de leur lieu de vie. Nous sommes chez nous et nous participons activement à la vie de la maison.
I have to tell you two things about that place. So most of the videos you will see comes from what we call here a dementia unit. So you have only person with moderate to severe dementia there, like the women you are seeing right now. Second thing is that it's a public nursing home, and they have very few staff and very few money. It's important for you to understand that it's not about money. Of course, it helps, but it's about the vision of what is our mission as a nursing home and as a staff. In that place, the mission is to allow that. I have to stop now because I guess there is a lot of people in charge of activities right here. So Patio, that is the name of the dementia unit, and the residents created what you see on the screen. It's interesting because you can see that it's mandala behind the letters. And I've seen plenty of nursing homes where people use crayons to color mandala during hours, and then the mandalas are thrown away and they get it again and again and again, and that's the only thing they will do for the rest of their life. In that place, some people enjoy mandalas, but the mandalas are used to create something. So there is a goal, there is a purpose. So same activity, same abilities needed, but a very different one because there is a goal.
Du choix et de la fabrication de la décoration, de la couleur des murs à l'organisation de la cuisine pour qu'elle soit pratique pour nous, en passant par la couleur de la vaisselle et le choix de la peinture.
When you look at all these people, please ask yourself this question. Where is the dementia? These are normal people with cognitive deficits, the normal people, and they act the same way normal people act, because they are.
Donner à manger aux chats, à la lapine et aux poules font aussi partie de nos missions. Faire la vaisselle, l'essuyer, remplir les carafes, mettre la table, couper le pain, tout le monde peut trouver son rôle pour aider le personnel en poste.
This woman, I know her well. I met her a lot. When she entered into the nursing home, her MMSE score, you know, MMSE, cognitive test 0 is the most severe dementia, 30 is you have probably no deficits. And she had a MMSE score at 0. And so if that was the only thing about her, would you have thought about asking her help like this? So they always look at capacities, abilities of the persons and not at the deficits. That's a very different way of thinking.
Ce sont des tâches que nous avons plaisir à faire car nous les faisions déjà à notre domicile. Au moins, on ne s'ennuie pas. Nous épluchons les légumes pour la soupe du soir et bien d'autres activités de cuisine nous permettent de partager de vrais moments de convivialité. La pâtisserie que nous pouvons partager au goûter avec nos familles. Pour la bonne franquette au resto du patio, nous choisissons et cuisinons nos menus.
Just for you to remember, because when people see this video, many of them think our residents are different. They have more advanced dementia. These persons all have moderate to severe dementia. Just think about that. And so everyone has a role in the community, or the possibility to have a role, depending on their interest and abilities. Everyone is invited to share, to participate, to take part of it.
La lingerie est un lieu où nous trouvons toujours à faire. Notre aide est bien précieuse à la lingère. C'est loin d'avoir des montagnes de linge, c'est vrai. Faire le pliage, le repassage, la distribution du linge, faire un peu de couture, repriser, coudre un bouton.
This man has dementia. He has a very important role because he gets the newspaper distribution and also the mail distribution. So he has to leave the unit, dementia unit. So he learned to make the code to be able to leave. Just saying. And one important role he has also is to bring a visit, to get a visit to all the person that cannot leave the room because they are too much sick. And so you meet them maybe 1 or 2 a week with other residents, so they know they're not alone and they have some social contact and human interaction, which is very important.
Même si des fois il y a des désaccords, des mésententes, la solidarité et l'entraide sont les mots-clés de la maison. Un habitant distribue les journaux aux abonnés qui ne peuvent se déplacer. Des dames de la maison sont des leaders d'activités et font des jeux de mémoire.
So in that nursing home, the animator, that's how we call it in France, the person in charge of activities, does not run activities anymore. These are run by residents. And the role of the animator is to make that possible.
Ou des temps de lecture. Chaque activité proposée correspond à nos capacités. Les différents comités nous permettent de prendre des décisions collectives.
I just want to come back here. Okay, I see the time is running, so I will stop this video right here. Two things just to finish about it. First, look at his face. Once with Cameron Camp, we gave a presentation in France, and the topic was interesting. The topic was, is it possible to be happy when you have severe dementia? Just look at him. I think you have the answer. It depends on what you experience and the environment you live in. Second, I've seen a question about regulation, hygiene questions, and so on. So I will give a very short and brief answer to that, and if needed, we can come back to it. In that place, they use exactly the same approach with resident than with staff. So a resident washes their hands. They cook every day, but if they need, they take gloves. They use the same procedure than staff would, and they document it. So no problem with regulation. Everything is okay. No problem of hygiene, and in fact, they have much less disease, infections, and things like that because people are engaged, alive, and they get less sick. So short answer, but that's the idea. And now I will let my executive director and friends, Vero, now it's on you. I will stop sharing and share your slides.
Yeah.
Wait
First
for
of
it.
all, Jérôme apologized about his English, but mine is worst. So I will try to to be understandable for all of you. The woman in the video you saw was explaining also committees. So we are working when we train the staff a lot of this topic. And so the two experiences I will share with you is about committees. First one, this nursing home is also in the south of France. And so after the training, the staff began to ask to the residents, what do you want? Or what are your wishes? And is in this nursing home, the residents said, we don't want to be seen only as resident in nursing home, but only as elderly adults. So they said to have this opportunity, we need a place outside of the nursing home to share times and moments with all the communities of the town. So next to the nursing home, they have a small building. And so they decided to have a cafe, a bar. You know, in France, we have a lot of. So that's for them a real important goal. So you see on this picture, discussion, and as Jérôme presented in our training, always a circle. So all the person you are seeing in the first picture are discussing about what will be the better place to have these moments. And as Jérôme also shared with the last video, you have a lot of roles inside. You have person who want to discuss about the project, person who are doing some work. Some person said, we will be there when the cafe will open. You have residents who are doing the communication to the outside. And so some of them want to be part of the decoration. So that is a huge project during a long time. If you want to go the next.
Bonjour Christian.
Oh, sorry. Wait, sorry, I misclicked. Okay.
So I want to present two special men. The first man on the left, he's years old. And, you know, he is a man who said, we have to be connected all generations. So I want deeply to be part of this project. And he said, you know, I don't know how long time I have, but giving my last years in that kind of projects is perfect. And this man named Mr. Azule. And the other man, Mr. Del Toro, was a man who didn't want to take part of usual activities. He was often alone and talked less and less. But when the staff proposed him to be part of the bar organizing committee, his behaviors began to change totally. And, you know, this man said, for the last few years, I was just a resident in a nursing home. He said, now I am a member of this town and I have so many things to bring to the youngest. And what they want to share, last one, is how they are good in soccer tables. So they asked just to have this soccer table little bit before the opening to train more. Look at those men. Jérôme said in the last video, where is the dementia? Look at them. And so now they will have Generation MDR, the next future cafe of this town of Frontignan. That is the first example.
If I may say, MDR means LOL, L-O-L. That's the same in French, and that's the name they chose. Okay, next.
Yeah. Now I bring you to the north of the France, in another nursing home where a lot of persons couldn't be outside for shopping. And so they said, but shopping is also a part of the life. So in this nursing home, we trained all the staff, and a committee began to arrive. It's a shop committee. And so they decided it's, you say, pop-up shop, if I am quite good. And so twice a month, you have this shop decided by the residents. So they discuss with a shop on the neighborhood about bringing snacks, drinking, a product for toilets, for decoration. And so all the inhabitants decided what they want to bring, what they want to sell. And you have wonderful discussion in this place. It is just table and chairs, no more. And it's opening for 2 hours. They make all you saw on the picture, you see on the picture, it's a part of the animation. And so twice a week, they decide what to want to buy. Residents decide and make the cash. And as they make a little bit more money, they give this money to the animation to have more projects. That is the first thing they decided to do. Now it's running since, I think, 4 years, and it's a part of the life of this nursing home. But after that, they decided a new project. because they said this shop is just for us inside the nursing home. They want to be linked to the outside of the residence, as the previous you saw. And so, next slide, Jérôme.
I'm on it.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay, you got it.
They decided about a tea room because they want to meet person from their neighborhood. So they decided to have this tea room also twice a month. So they buy all is needed. They make their own cakes. They sell it. They served. And as you see on the picture, as they have difficulties to remembering, they decide to put information on trails, and you have just to check what you want. So you have drinking, and after you have the name of the cakes. And after they served you, they put a sign on it to be sure that you have already it. And so it's a huge way of participation of the community, and it's a new life for them. And also they earn a little bit more money that they comment on dit dépenser?
Thought.
So, and so now it's new incomes for the animation. So that's two other way of having community, and we have a last special committee to share with you. Thanks for your listening.
Thank you, Vero, for your courage. And we cannot hear your applause, but you should applauding her because she was so anxious about speaking in English. So yeah, thanks for that. You can see it. I would like to finish with one last video, very short one. We go to Belgium, and in Belgium we work also with our partner that is called Senior Montessori. There, they train places, and there is other nursing home that decided to embrace that way of thinking and giving life to residents. So the place we will go to now, amongst many things, they created another committee that they called the Dreaming Committee. And the idea is to make residents' dream and wish comes true. So, for example, one brief example, then I show you the video. One resident was dreaming about going to Vietnam. Of course, he lives in Belgium, close to France, and that was too challenging and not possible. So they were thinking how to make his dream possible, even if it's not possible. And so what they decided, they created the Dreaming Committee. So they had a meeting with residents. They tried to think how to bring Vietnam to him. And so they organized a secret birthday party on the topic of Vietnam. And with the resident, they created decoration. They called to Asian dancer. They give a call to Vietnam restaurant to create that specific kind of food. And they made all of these things without telling a word to the residents. And so the day of his birthday, there was a crazy Vietnamese day at the nursing home for him. And he said, that is the most beautiful day in my life. So that's the kind of things they do in their Dreaming Committee. And I would like to finish our presentation to show you one last thing. Do you have it, Vero? Is it okay? Okay. So let's go to Belgium. I hope the translation will be okay, but it should. Oh gosh. another sound problem. It happens sometimes with YouTube. I think I will share it again. Wait a minute. Okay. I tried again. Okay.
Jerome, just a heads up, we got about 11 minutes.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes, so we are just right.
I guess it took a note and kept a lid on me. My only one.
On va commencer le comité des rêves. Bonjour à tous. Bonjour Nathalie. Le 20 juillet, nous allons...
So, rêve à réaliser, that means dreams to come true, just for you to understand it. That's what they work on.
réaliser le rêve d'un monsieur qui est ici à la maison de repos, qui souhaiterait se remarier. Et là, nous allons avoir l'aide de Chantal pour réaliser ce rêve-là. Pour les activités, on partait déjà de l'envie des habitants pour mettre en place des activités dans la maison de repos. Mais ici, dernièrement, on a mis en place un comité des rêves de façon à répondre à une demande beaucoup plus individuelle au niveau de la maison. Donc, on va à la recherche des envies des habitants. Lors d'une activité, on demande aux habitants s'ils ont un rêve, s'ils ont une envie particulière. Et en fonction de ça, on fait des réunions une fois par mois avec des habitants, avec des familles, avec des membres du personnel. Et on essaie de mettre des choses en place afin de pouvoir les réaliser dans la mesure du possible, bien sûr. On va organiser une rencontre avec lui, on ira voir un tournoi de karaté.
Oui, ça oui.
Oui?
Oui, et je paye pour tous ceux que je vois ici.
Non, mais il ne faudra pas payer, ça va aller.
And so in July last year, the day came, and no more words. I let you just look at what happened to finish the presentation. Thanks again for listening to our crazy English accent. Think about a person with dementia getting married in a nursing home. It's happening. It's possible. Only if we make it possible.
When you laugh, I'll be around. I'll wait for you to come around. And when you laugh, I'll be around. I'll wait for you to
And
come
next,
around.
why
Give
not?
me a chance. I'll make you read.
Okay, guys. I won't say anything else except maybe that those residents are the same. The nursing home are the same. Regulations are the same here in France. Believe me, I worked with Cameron and Gary for years now. I know it. But it's a way of thinking and something to decide to set in place. Thank you for hearing us. Gary, up to you now.
Jerome and Vero, many thanks from my heart, and I have a little tear. But for those of you who have joined the webinar, I just want to comment that Vero and Jerome did a great job, I think, in casting a picture of what Montessori can look like, particularly for a person with dementia. And Dr. Camp and Stacy will be talking about that and also how that impacts and what research we've done on this and what outcomes. and they'll be speaking about an organization called Windsong that's in Colorado, I think Colorado, Washington, and Oregon, and they may be in other places by now as well. And so they would also be able to address some of the issues related to licensing, and the Windsong has done an amazing job related to having this life happen within the regulations. So, and then we'll talk in the last session about applying this to staff. So that's what's coming up. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Dr. Montessori, she was a person who really taught children who were thought to be unteachable. And she had the, I think, bold idea that maybe it's not the child, but maybe it's the environment that they're in. And if we change the environment, let's see what happens. And maybe if we find ways to not oppress people, but to have them be human beings, maybe they'll behave in a way that brings out the best version of themselves. And maybe if we love them, things will happen. And I think you just saw some really neat ways that in France, they're really working on having a person with dementia feel loved. And we'll think about that in the United States here in the next section, but we'll also talk about what does that mean for a staff to feel loved. And so it's really about, it's a human thing, right? And it's about what it's like to be treated in a way that you have dignity, you have equality, and you have respect, right? And so Vero and Jerome, great job. I love your English.
Not me.
And I know you think I have crazy American accent, but yeah, Jerome's nodding. But thank you all very, very much. And I think my clock says we're just about 1 minute to the top of the hour. Vero or Jerome, any one last comments? You don't need to, but if you would like to, any last thing you'd like to have the folks on the webinar consider?
I just want to say, bringing life in nursing home, it's giving to staff and also for family a new way of thinking. It's a totally different paradigm. So, and it's possible. Deeply, it's possible.
Thank you. And Jerome?
Yeah, that's what we wanted to share. When you do different things happened, and I don't know how you will feel with what I will say, but believe me, it's kind of easy. The system is not easy. The system is crazy. But when you try to embrace these principles, this vision, many good things happen, and it's easier than we really think. The biggest barrier is in our mind most of the time, and it's about fear and things like that. That's what I would like to tell you. And again, thanks for inviting us. It was an honor.
And Jerome and I have talked in Vero, the greatest antidote to fear is love.
Yes,
Charles, can we, hey, you magically appeared.
Magic. Hi, Gary.
Hi.
Jérôme et Véronique en français, j'aimerais vous remercier de votre présence. C'est génial.
Merci
But
beaucoup.
everybody understood this. It was not very high level French, but I was thanking Jérôme and Véronique. And just so all of you, I was actually born and raised in France. I am French. And so I had double the tears in my eyes about hearing, especially the last parts with the videos. So thank you very much. Gary, any last comments before we wrap up this session?
No, I think we're good to go to the break here.
Okay, great. Well, thanks everyone. Feel free to turn off your camera. Please stay on. I know, Jérôme, you might have